Hi and welcome to Swift Challenges. Today we're going to look at printing. So let's get started with a new playground. Just select blank. Don't worry about these other ones. I've just been playing around with templates there. Call it print. So we're sort of going back a step here, but it's okay. It's always good to go back a step and then you can go forward maybe 3 steps. That's what I heard somewhere. It is true. So let's try this. Here's your challenge. So print this default variable. How do you do that? All right, let's do it. So print, and you do your rounded bracket, select str. That's the default variable. And press the little play button, and there we go, hello playground, which is the string that's stored into that variable. Next, here's your next challenge, create a constant variable. Well, no, sorry, variable's different. Create a constant and print it. Here we go. Pause if you don't want to see the answer. Let my constant equal my constant. Very confusing, but that's what it is. And then print it. Print my constant. As you see, just pressing enter and it brings up the quick entry in the Xcode IDE. It's very cool. Press play on that and it's printed that. And the cool thing about the latest one, it just does segments of code. So I can print the first one. So it's running print and running the first block there. And then it's going, okay, you've already ran that. So let's run the next bit. And I think they do that because it does slow up the playground if you're printing everything or running everything inside it. All right, next is print both of those in a string. How would you do that? All right, here we go. Start with print and then do the inverted commas, so shift and the inverted commas beside the enter key. And you can just start typing. This string contains a variable and constant. All right, so how to put those in there? What we do is use the backslash, which is just above the enter key, and the rounded brackets, and then you put your variable in there, str, I'm putting inside that, and the other one, my constant, and I'm going to just, so I can separate these, just put a colon after that first statement. This string contains a variable and a constant, and there they are. And then run that. There you go, and it's got hello playground and my constant. So that's printing a constant and a variable, quite easy. And how about, here's one more challenge, how would you combine both of those inside this string? Combine both the strings. Do it inside here. So I'm going to copy that. Pause if you want to give it a go. And then all I have to do is do plus. Put my constant over there inside the other. So the other placeholder for my variables and constant, I'm going to do an addition of the strings inside there. You might even want to put another add in there and put a space. So I'm going to put a inverted comma, so there's a space between them, or some sort of separator, and then print that. And there they are, combined into one object or one variable. All right, cool. So now that hasn't changed anything with those variables. They'll still be the same. You can check. So check below. There's just some extra things you can play around with. Is print the string and the constant underneath, and you'll see they haven't changed. If you want them to change, you'd have to use the plus equals, and we can't really do that in this case. We're going to try. Let's give it a go. See what happens. All right, and let's run that. It's trying to. Oh, it looks like it did, but we get, it doesn't print anything. All it does is it prints the rounded brackets. All right, so it's got a bit confused there. It's like doesn't know what's going on there when you do that. If I do it to both, it's just a bit of fun. I don't think it'll work either. Yep. So yeah, all right, what's that problem? Left side mutating operator has immutable string type. What does that mean? Now, let's have a look. My constant, all right, the left side is immutable. So that would say that this side we cannot change, okay? Even though it is a variable, but it's just a very confusing sort of thing that's going on here. So, it's just a bit of fun. I was just messing around with it, but you'd have to do that a lot differently if you wanted to combine. The other problem is a let you cannot change. So, but we're only trying to add it to this string here. All right, so it must be immutable, meaning we cannot change it. Now the only way you could do that, I'll show you how to get around that, is we'll make it a variable. I'm going to call it a separator. All right, let's do that. And put my separator here. Using, yeah, let's use that. See if we can fix it. Bit of a challenge. Once again, it's just there's too much going on here. It's trying to add this and this at the same time. You'd have to do it separately and then do it and then put that inside there. So I would go about that is getting rid of that out of there. Get rid of that last bit and then put the my constant afterwards. And there we go. So that's fixed it, except we've got our string, we've added the separator to it. Really, it should print that. But all we're getting is some rounded brackets. Let's look at that. So the string plusing and equaling the separator to it. You know, why isn't that there? Because you can do it with like, let's just get rid of the equals and see if that fixes it. See, that works. So maybe inside a string you cannot. Let's test that out. Just curious now. Let's call it number 1, and it equals 1. And let's create another one. I just want to see if you can do addition inside here. Like change the first variable. So here we go. We're going to learn something new here. Can you alter a variable inside a string? And you can. Like if I print number 1 now, it just doesn't like it with like a string inside a string, you know. Here we go. Let's print number 2. Let's see if this has changed down here. All right, so it hasn't. Now we're going to do the plus equals. And this, oh, hang on, that's not going to really show us much. Let's see if we can change the number 1 to a number 2, because that's what the plus equals is doing. What it's doing is it's adding 2, well actually that should still work. If we add a 1 to the number 1, we'll get 2, and that'll change this number 1 variable to 2. So let's look at that. All right, so you cannot do that inside a string, just to confirm, and they're the sort of things you want to sort of mess around with and understand. So you have to do whatever you want changed. It's like if you're changing a variable, you cannot do it inside a print statement. You have to do it outside and then print it. All right, interesting. So that was like unintentional, but that's the whole point of programming, is to experiment and find things interesting that you probably wouldn't read anywhere else. So yeah, have fun and enjoy printing.